Hello everybody, Collector Charles here, and today's video is going to be a little different than what the normal influencer videos are. Most of them want to talk about what's already happened in 2025 and do like sort of a year in review, but what I want to do is more of a what's going to happen in 2026. So what I'm going to give you is my hobby predictions for 2026. And as you can see here, it's about that time. My Christmas tree's right behind me here. And so, yeah, it's, we could really just pick many things that's happened just this year alone, or in the last 6 months. Really, that's happened. And that'd be enough to do a year in review.
Oh, it's funny because it's true.
With Topps Chrome Baseball coming out and it being a disaster of a release, and hobbyists out there just flat out just rebelling against it, saying this is not acceptable. And then what does Topps do? They come out with Topps Chrome Basketball and do the exact same thing, only slightly worse. And then how do they respond to that? They come out and do Topps Chrome Update Baseball, and it's even worse. It's like they're not hiding the fact that they're letting their breakers at Fanatics Live get all the good cards and all the good boxes and the cases, and they pull the case hits and then they rub it in your face and tell you, to get with it and all that kind of stuff. If you want to get in on the breaks, that kind of stuff. But I'm sure everyone's going to be covering that avenue, that angle from it. So let's talk about 5 things that I believe is going to happen in 2026. My hobby predictions for 2026. The first thing is, it might happen here before the end of the year, but I'm predicting Topps/Fanatics is going to have a major controversy. It's coming. Like, they're not even hiding the fact that they're giving loaded boxes to breakers. It's almost if the breakers are just kind of sort of understanding that nothing's going to happen to them, so they don't even really hide it. A recent story come out in the United Kingdom where a person flat out had a 1-of-1 card in his hotel room and was telling everybody, yeah, I've got the 1-of-1. And then they end up breaking it and pulling the 1-of-1. And a person exposed that. And instead of Fanatics denying it or coming out and saying that's not how we do things, they pretty much told the person to stop bothering people at Fanatics or they're going to sue them. So that's the attitude Fanatics is taking about this kind of stuff. So in 2026, I think it's just going to get even worse. I think there's going to be something even worse that comes out that's going to cause there to be a major controversy involving Topps and Fanatics, to where I think another senator or a congressman's going to get involved and get the FTC involved with them too. That's coming. What it's going to be over, it could be any litany of things. But I believe it's going to have a lot to do with the breaking and how they're giving loaded boxes to breakers and not releasing pack odds anymore. Professor Sports Cards talks about that a little bit, how they're not even coming out with pack odds hardly anymore. Or they're hiding them, or they're not accurate. So that's my first major prediction. What's going to happen? Who knows? Who knows? My second prediction is, I think our good friend Geoff Wilson from Cards HQ, from Sports Card Investor, from Market Movers, is going to find himself in some kind of hot water. I don't know what kind of hot water. I don't know if it'll be to the extent of getting the feds involved, but I believe he has constantly come out and defended some of the most indefensible things done in the hobby from either PSA or from Topps or Fanatics. And each time he has realized this is not the take to have, and I'm getting completely roasted on X or on Instagram or YouTube, and he walks it back. So I predict there's going to be something that he's going to either do or be a part of that's going to get him in hot water. And it'll affect him long term, to where I think he'll consider possibly selling out his stakes in the hobby to either Collectors Universe or Fanatics. I think that's coming. I'll start as saying that he'll find himself in hot water for some reason. I mean, there's so many things he could find himself in hot water over and being a part of. It's honestly just a matter of what at this point. And just to be clear, I don't think Jeff Wilson's a thief or a crook. I don't think he's capable of doing any of those things. I think he's actually probably a good guy overall. But one thing we have to remember about him, he's a businessman first. He was a tech investor before he got into the hobby. And he's only been in the hobby, since 2018 or 2019. So we're talking 7 or 8 years here. And he's business savvy, and he's proven that. And he's very tech savvy with his media and how he markets himself. But at some point, I feel like he's going to do something or be a part of something that's going to get him in hot water. And we're going to be talking about him at some point in 2026. The third thing I believe will happen is PSA won't be as dominant as they were in 2025, and that another grading company will come along and take the lion's share of the grading market thing. And another thing I've heard as well from people that are like going to card shows and that kind of thing is that certain areas, certain databases that cover grading don't cover all of the grading that's going on, because there's plenty of smaller companies out there that are grading thousands of cards that are just simply not either reporting their data, or some feel they're not important enough to report it. So the grading market, I think, is more saturated than we think. And I also think with everything that PSA has been a part of this year, I really think some grading company is going to come along and dig into their shares quite a bit. Probably isn't going to be, Beckett or SGC, because Collectors Universe owns them and they also own PSA. But I do think a grading company is going to come along and be a viable second option and give PSA a run for their money. And their dominance is going to be over with. And I also think that the hobby and the market's going to dictate that as well, and start seeing cards from SGC and TAG and other places as just as valuable as a PSA card. Because with the buybacks and everything, and with how PSA is conducting their business, it's almost like it's inevitable at this point. The fourth thing I'm predicting is that Topps football, when it comes out, they get the license in April of 2026. I'm predicting this is going to be the biggest disaster of them all. It's going to be bigger than Topps Chrome Baseball or Topps football, or basketball, I should say. This will be a unmitigated disaster. Now, don't get it twisted. Just in case you missed it, Fanatics is really good at marketing. They're awesome at marketing. And Topps, is under the Fanatics umbrella, so they're going to be good at it too. So the NFL is going to market this like crazy. Plus, it's going to be in their off season, so you're going to get the draft picks, the Bowman drafts, the Bowman football releases, which have already been coming out, and you're going to see a lot of influencers coming out and saying this is the best thing that's ever happened to the hobby. What they're not going to tell you and what they're not going to focus on is how expensive it's going to be. I'm predicting you're going to see jumbo boxes being almost $1,000 retail. Not aftermarket, retail. Which means you're going to probably see $2,000 chrome jumbo boxes. Or, $1,500 flagship paper jumbo boxes. You're going to see this product be so insanely expensive that hobbyists are just going to flat out speak with their wallets and say, you know what? Forget this. We're not going to have anything to do with it. We're not buying into breaks. We're not going to do anything with it. We're going to let it sit on the shelves. And this is what's leading me into the first thing with Topps Fanatics being in the midst of a controversy in 2026. I think Topps football is going to be a big part of it. I think Topps' football license is going to be one of those double-edged swords, where on one end, of course, they have the license, so they've cornered the market, and they can pretty much come out with whatever they want, and it's going to be great because they're the only ones that have it. On the other hand, if you're pricing people out of the hobby and you're only giving breakers the best cards, and those cards are inflated even on the market on eBay or wherever you buy your cards secondhand, it's going to lead to disastrous results. And I think Topps football is going to be one of those things that's going to be so disastrous that it causes Fanatics and Topps to end up in some kind of major controversy where you're going to discover something that's either unethical or maybe even illegal. So it's a bold prediction, but I do predict that's going to happen. And just fair warning, the way you've been seeing things now with Topps Chrome basketball and Topps, Chrome baseball, everything looks like it's awesome on the surface when you're looking at influencers who work with Fanatics or shield for Fanatics, so to speak. It's going to be the same thing with football. Just understand that it's smoke and mirrors. And the reality isn't what you see on YouTube. It's not what you see in breaks. It's what you see in retail stores. It's what you see in your hobby shops. So don't believe in the hype and understand that it's going to be expensive, but at some point those prices will come down once people just aren't buying it anymore. But I do predict it's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be a bigger disaster than the other products with baseball and basketball. Now, the fifth and final thing that I believe will happen, and this might be my boldest prediction. I don't know if it will even happen or not, but I'm going to, why not step out there and say something a little bold to get the people talking, is I believe Collectors Universe is going to buy a major card brand. I don't know if it's going to be Panini or the licenses that Panini has, such as Fleer and Donruss and Skybox. I'm not sure. Or Upper Deck. That's another one that everyone thinks is going to happen too. Like eventually Upper Deck's going to sell out. The thing is, though, they have Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods licenses. So while they're not making as much money as they were in the 90s, they still have a market. Plus they have the hockey license, which I'm pretty sure they're losing that too. Fanatics as well. So my prediction will be that Collectors Universe will end up buying into the actual trading card market, the sports card market. And I predict that they're going to try to sue and get dual licensing as well. We'll just add on to that. So look for those things to happen in 2026. I guess the most important prediction that I'll have, and I think it's probably going to be spot on, is the fact that if you think it's chaos now in the hobby in 2025, you haven't seen nothing yet in 2026. It's going to be crazy because the football license comes to Topps in 2026. Panini will lose its license and will only be able to produce, niche products. They're going to still have your kabooms. You're going to still have your downtowns. They're just not going to be licensed anymore. Not to mention, really the only licenses Panini has is the WNBA, and NASCAR, and I don't even know what others they have. Maybe Live Golf, perhaps. But, Upper Deck has AEW, which is all elite wrestling. But everything else is from Topps and Fanatics. WWE, UFC, Disney, Marvel. I'm pretty sure DC's with Upper Deck. Pretty sure that's the case. Or Fleer. But I think they're under maybe the Panini umbrella. I'm not sure. But, it's going to be a volatile and very crazy 2026 for hobbyists. What pricing is going to be as far as the older cards are concerned, I'm not sure. That's something I can't predict because it seems like everything, such as the King Griffey Jr. rookie cards, the Jordan rookie cards, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, they're all going up like crazy. But that happened in the pandemic, and eventually it plateaued and then went back down. So I think something like that will happen too. But I don't know to what extent. I don't know which cards. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I can tell you is I believe it's going to be chaotic. And to simply stay tuned. Anyway, like and subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think is going to happen. What are your predictions? Do you think I'm spot on with mine, or do you think something's that's going to happen is going to be completely different? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.